Yeah, but when's the last time there was a forced conversion? I mean, I think,
Yeah.
you know, after hundreds and hundreds of years and expressions of support, I think we recognize that we have some real friends here. So the hidden agenda theory that I hear periodically, for me, doesn't carry any weight. I look at what people do. And the amount of support we get from the evangelical community, from Christians who are there for us, it is tremendous. It is tremendous.
The other thing you have to remember is during that period, they just as quickly killed Christians, too.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I mean, you had the Inquisition going at the same times. It was just atrocious behavior.
You know, the thing that David and I talked about, because my faith is kind of the outcast in the Christian world. And I said to somebody who met me, a very good Christian, and he said it with compassion, but I've heard it the other way, too. You know, Glenn, gosh, you're just doing some amazing things, and I know you're following the Spirit, but I think you're on the wrong side. And because my church is not accepted by others, when are we going to get to a point to where we look at people's fruits and we can say, by the fruits ye shall know them? Because I know a lot of Jews that are, by their fruits, are great and really wicked. Christians, really wicked, really great. I mean, I know a lot of people who are evangelicals or Catholics or whatever. It's the fruits that make the difference, isn't it?
You know, the prophet Samuel, when David was selected to be the king of Israel, and he was the most unlikely one to be selected. But a great line that Samuel declared to us from the inspiration of God is that man looks on the outward appearance of things, but God looks upon the heart. And I think the closer we draw in our faith to God, the more we begin to look beyond the surface and look to the heart of the issues.
Right.
And we have a common heart and a common bond and a common love for God and love for Israel, which is uniting the evangelical church along with the rabbi and Israel.
You know, I find one thing, if you want to measure what's in the heart, let's see what's in the hands. Let's see what people do.
Right.
There are a lot of people who tell you they love humanity, but they don't visit the person next door.
That's right.
So it's the mitzvah, it's the do, it's the
There
do.
is, who asked the question was, where's Jeff Rice in New Jersey? Where's Jeff? Jeff, you remember your question? What was your question?
Oh, my question was, what was your favorite part of your experience in Israel, and what was your least favorite part?
Favorite part was the people of Israel. They are absolutely amazing. Hands down, the memory that I will never forget is a man who walked up to me at the Western Wall, and he said, "Thank you, we feel alone at times." They're such courageous people. The worst, the least favorite was meeting with people of all faiths, and a few people came in, and it was about them. And I thought, how can you possibly make this about you? How can you possibly? They would say, I know what time it is. I know what's coming. You're right. You're right. Now listen, you know, you probably want to have a little something, you know, with me. And I'm like, you got to be kidding. I couldn't believe it. The people who say, I love you, I am compassionate, or I want to do this, and then let's see what's in their hands. It's so frustrating. So frustrating.
Can I add one to that, too?
But that happens everywhere.
When we were there, I think one of the things that got me very significantly was we were there for their Memorial Day, followed by their Independence Day.
Amazing.
And unlike America, in Genesis it says that God made things and it was the evening and the morning. So their holidays start at sundown and go through. So when we went there to the Western Wall, under the Western Wall, or in the tunnels, when we went in, it was still before sunlight, and therefore it was still Memorial Day. We came out.
The flame was burning.
We came out, and it was after sundown, and so it was now Independence Day. And you go from a somber thing to celebrating and dancing and cheering and singing there at the Western Wall. But on Memorial Day, when we were going down the road, the sirens blow, and everybody in the nation stops for like 2 minutes. If you're in the middle of a 4-lane interstate, you all stop and get out in 2 minutes of silence to recognize those who have fallen in defense.
And also, I have to tell you, it does prove how stupid I am, because it was on Independence Day, and you know, here in America, July 4th, we're all out cooking with a barbecue, and everybody was in the parks cooking, and I'm like, wow, look, even here, everybody's having hot dogs, and everybody went, no, they're not having hot dogs. Back in just a minute. Rabbi Joseph Potosnik, David Barton, Tom Mullins, pastor from Florida here. And you two gentlemen were part of the Black Robe Brigade that we announced on 8/28, standing behind. And David, you guys have been working quietly for quite some time. Bring us up to speed on what's happening.
What we have now is a website, and by the way, Black Robe Regiment, for those who don't know, it's what the British called the clergy in the American Revolution. British said if it hadn't been for the preachers, America would still be a happy British colony. So they imprisoned preachers, they killed preachers. When they came to New York City, 19 churches, they burned 10 to the ground. They blamed everything on the preachers. So they were bold, courageous guys who led the military, who wrote state constitutions, who ratified the U.S. Constitution, who served in Congress. And we just don't have that backbone anymore. So we want preachers to get that backbone, be leaders in education, leaders in politics, leaders in all these things, get their voice back. And so there's a website now, blackroberegiment.wallbuilders.com, that has a ton of those old sermons that the British complained about are up there. There's a ton of information legally on what can be done today, and it's more than you think can be done. There's a lot of information with videos and everything else to equip these guys to get their courage back and to be the force in shaping America that they had been 200 years ago.
And Glenn, we're rallying pastors to not only log on to this page and become a part, but there's a pledge that they can actually take and sign up to become a part of the Black Robe Regiment today. And I'm seeing a fresh movement starting in our nation. I mean, we're waking up to the challenge and to the call. And there are meetings that are breaking loose around the country now of pastors coming together.
Tell me the difference from a year ago. What was it like a year ago to now?
I think there's a greater sense of awareness, and I think there's also a call for a greater sense of unity, and we realize that we've got to unify together to really get back to the foundations of this great nation.
Okay, hang on. Does that mean unify in the way that was spoken about by our founders with Father Abraham? Unify, we disagree on theology,
Yes.
but we come together on...
Yes.
We've got a culture to save, we've got a country to save, we have freedoms to save, and we have churches, and that's where we'll discuss theology. But when we're saving a country or saving a culture, that's a different thing, and there's all sorts of cooperation.
I think it's interesting. I think you're wanting clergy to behave as prophets, to use that prophetic voice,
that's right,
to speak out against sometimes unpopular things, but have the courage to speak out and address them.
How do you do that in many of our churches where you depend on the money?
What you're finding is the churches that have regained their voice are the ones statistically that are growing the fastest. The ones that are weak-kneed and weak-spined are having trouble. Statistically, right now, in any given month, 60% will be in church, but 67% of people think the church is irrelevant today.
Okay, back in just a second. Okay. With our final minutes, we're talking about the Black Robe Regiment, and we have Moss with a question. Go ahead, Moss.
Faith seems to be more frequently absent from the younger generations. How do you foresee the Black Robe Regiment becoming a part of your new youth initiative?
You're asking this of me? You will find out very soon. I am putting together something that, one of the reasons why I'm leaving Fox is to target the youth, to make sure that we go for the youth. I think we've made our point here, and Fox does a great job of keeping people informed. I've got to go find a way to go to the youth. And David and I have discussed some different things that we will be doing in a new initiative that we will talk. But how does a pastor come out?
We have one of my greatest encouragements, Glenn, is there is a resurgence of a great hunger for faith and for action among our teenagers. And our teenagers are just growing by leaps and bounds. Thousands of kids coming each week and mobilizing to engage their lives to make a difference. They want to rally around the truth, and they want to rally around a cause of justice.
There's nothing nothing makes you more miserable than stuff. Yeah. I mean, it just makes you miserable. And I think that this generation is better than us in many ways. And they've been raised on stuff, and they'll split one way or the other. And the ones that are going the right way are tremendous. Yeah. Yes, you are Michael.
Yes,
Michael.
Glenn, big fan. I just want to say before I start my question, I actually used your quote, "Question with boldness, speak without fear, and hold to the truth," as my yearbook quote.
Holy cow.
As I graduate.
Thank you.
I attend St. Edmund Prep High School in Brooklyn, and In my 2 history classes last year, AP US History, and this year in AP US Government, I was never taught about the Black Robe Regiment from the Revolution. I just want to know why. And
David?
Well, they're trying their best to keep people of faith out of the public arena. And so how in the world would they dare to teach that it's people of faith who created the public arena they're trying to throw them out of?
Right.
So this is contrary to everything that would be a philosophical political agenda. I mean, what the courts are doing and legislators, et cetera.
It really is impossible to be able to restore something without the cornerstone. You can't rebuild it without the cornerstone.
That's right.
You know? And I think that's, you know, the thing that let me end where we began, not on the end of the world, but on the trip to Israel. That is the original place where man first spoke to one God. That's the place where Abraham...
Foundation stone.
It is the place.
And if we're coming home.
Yeah, it is. It's the
right.
world coming home and saying, hey, Dad, wow, have we been screwing this up? And returning home. Back in just a second. For more information on how you can get involved in the Black Robe Regiment, follow the website at the bottom of the screen and go to glennbeck.com if you would like to stand for Israel, restore courage in your own life, whether electronically, personally as a group, or in Israel. No matter where you are in the world, go to glennbeck.com. From New York, good night, America.